Good morning and welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you, hanging out where sports meets life every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And happy to be here in the studios for a very special day as we have the blessing of being the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the LeMoyne College Dolphins. And with that, the opportunity to bring you stories you won't find anywhere else and conversations that we get to carry here during Dolphin Time on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond that as well. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. We're going to start off the show here with a double dose of the Dolphin Dive, and that will start off with LeMoyne Dolphins catcher on the baseball team here in its return to Division One. Brady Fureno will be joining me, and then we'll be joined by pitcher Jordan Goldmann coming up after Brady, as we will have the opportunity live to speak with both gentlemen picture in picture about their history, their connection to the sport, the journey to LeMoyne, as well as the journey back to Division One, and them being a part of history as the team moves forward here in the 2024 campaign as they return to NCAA Division One as one of only two teams at LeMoyne that had Division One experience, that being women's lacrosse and baseball. And then we'll get into hour number two. A day early, Papa Joe will be joining us here to speak on Major League Baseball. We've carried you through the Major League Baseball moves team by team in alphabetical order. We've done a third each week, so we're on the final third of the alphabet. We'll finish that off on today's broadcast, as well as give any updates on some of the things that may have happened to the teams we've already spoken about. And we'll get into the Jacksonville Jaguars on the prowl, giving our thoughts on where Jacksonville stands right now and some of the moves that they've made and what it means for the future. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning. Brady Fureno will start off the show with us, picture in picture. Brady, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks for having me this morning.
Absolutely, and it's my honor and my privilege, Brady. And you and I were talking off the air about this season, and when you look at the schedule and you look at the different places that you've been able to go to Houston Baptist, as well as going to places like St. Louis to face off against the Billikens, and going to LIU, which is inside of the NEC, having these different experiences in different places to challenge yourselves as a team. And in that challenge as a team, we have seen early success. And what you and I were talking about is the fact that we have this opportunity to see the baseball team get out there, get back to Division One, but you as a team have gotten to see yourselves get in the victory column and be able to defeat every team that you've seen so far for at least one game of the series. Houston Christian, I said Houston Baptist, I think, but Houston Christian, Radford, St. Louis, and LIU, all in series. You've gotten at least one victory against each of them. Just what you can say about what it's like to get in the win column and what that does for the team early on.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, honestly. The journey to Division One is kind of a lot of something that a lot of us didn't really experience before. So kind of the nice feeling of feeling like we belong. Like we never really feel outmatched in any series we play. Our team is full of competitors, so we want to play the best and we want to try to beat the best. So I think going into each series and taking a game from these teams not only showed that we belong, but we can compete at this level, and that we're going to have some success in the future.
I know you want to win every single game in every series, but when you look at the fact that outside of going to Bucknell for one game, all of these series that you played in to get at least one victory, to see yourselves in the win column, does that affect the psyche of the team in your opinion? Does it affect kind of your mentality moving forward when you see that each of those series you've been on, you've gotten a victory?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it translates right to practice too. It makes us feel like, all right, we're right there, but it also motivates us to do better. Obviously the gold standard for us isn't just winning one game a weekend. We want to take the series or at least sweep a team. So I think that not only getting one win, but it kind of shows that, all right, we can get one win. Let's see how many more we can get each weekend moving forward.
When you've been on the road the whole time this season to start off the season and going to all these different places and having different experiences, going to the Long Island area, going to, St. Louis, going down to Virginia and starting off the season in Texas, What's that been like for the team as far as building those bonds and those connections because you've had so much time on the road?
Yeah, it's been great, and we went down to Houston. We flew together as a team, which is a really cool experience. My previous 3 years here, it wasn't really something we did, so I think that's one of the things you take away from college athletics, just as much as the victories on the field as the stuff off the field. Being together, you remember those bus rides, those times in the hotel hanging out with each other. I think that going on this Division I journey, the stuff off the field is just as important as the stuff on the field.
Yeah, and you talked about how important the stuff off the field is and its importance with everything on the field. What off the field has been the biggest aid for this team this season? If there's something or a couple things you can pinpoint, Brady, that you feel like has really helped the team off the field this season.
Yeah, I think that from the seniors right down to the freshmen, we're a pretty tight-knit group. We joke around with each other a lot. We hang out, we do stuff together. It's not really like, oh, it's just the freshmen and the freshman class doing something and they don't hang out with the seniors. Like we all joke around with each other. We know each other, I think, pretty well. And so I think just like getting together, doing stuff together as a whole unit, is one of the most important things.
And like you said, from the seniors down to the freshmen, it's a tight knit group. That doesn't always happen. How did this environment come about that no matter when you came onto this team, no matter how many years you're in college, that everybody's kind of gelling together? Who led the way in making that happen?
Yeah, I think during COVID was a really important time. I think more than ever, we realized that as if we want to be successful as a team, everyone's got to be all in. You have to form really good relationships with everyone. I remember I think it was my sophomore, junior year, the seniors kind of took us in under their wing, and kind of made it known that even though we're freshmen, that we're a big part of this team too. We factor right in their success. And so I guess the feeling of belonging was really important, and I think throughout my 4 years here, seniors have really kind of prioritized forming those relationships with the underclassmen. And I think over my 4 years, it's really just kind of trickled down that each senior class or graduate class that, comes up, they really prioritize these relationships.
Yeah, and like you said, in prioritizing those relationships, you having somebody build it for you and now you're building it for someone else, that whole paying it forward side of things. Is there somebody on the team or maybe they're not on the team anymore, but were on the team the last few years that you feel like personally this person specifically helped to pave the way for you, helped to guide you, helped to give you something to use right now?
Yeah, I think a couple people come to mind. So one was my older brother Drew. He was on the team about 2 years ago, and him and I've always been close my whole life, but he's always been a great leader. And him and a few others in his class were, I think, one of the main driving factors in forming these relationships. Now on our team, I'd say Dewey Rodin's one of the biggest ones. He's kind of a big teddy bear. He likes joking around at everyone, and um, he's a pretty funny guy. So I think the way that we kind of form relationships is joking around with each other. And we give it to the freshmen, they give it back to us. And it's kind of just, I don't know, understanding that we're not only teammates, but we're all friends too.
Well, and like you said, you had the unique experience speaking here with Brady Fureno, a LeMoyne catcher, speaking on the 2024 baseball season in this edition of the Dolphin Dive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. Having your brother Drew on the team, not everybody's going to have an experience like that. Not everybody gets to say that, family gets to be on the same team. What was the best part of it, and what was the most challenging part of having brothers on the same team?
Uh, I'll start with the challenging part. So the most challenging part was he was also a catcher.
Yeah.
So the the tough part was, if he's playing, I'm not playing. Except maybe if I DH or something once in a while. But that was the most challenging part. But I think it's a lot easier rooting for someone who's in front of you when it's your own brother, you know. So that was kind of challenging, but um, I would say my most favorite part was just kind of being around him all the time. You know, like we were always competitors at home
Yeah.
and stuff, you know, like playing ball in the backyard or something. But really bringing it to the diamond, you know, and we always push each other. So kind of just like making each other but the best athletes and best people we could be was probably my most favorite part about that.
Like you said, you both being catchers, I guess your dad had the same conversation with you both because you and I were talking off the air about, hey, go be a catcher because nobody wants to do it. So Drew goes and does it. You go and do it. Was that dynamic? Like you said, I mean, it's easier to root for someone who's ahead of you if you don't play, if it's your brother, but at the same time, you want to be on the field. So, how have you guys navigated it? And I'm going to ask you a question that I would love to ask Drew someday as well: is who is the better catcher?
Yeah, so I think like we had enough space growing up where, you know, when he was a senior in high school, I was in ninth grade. So my ninth grade year, I ended up catching and he ended up playing infield, you know, so that was really cool. We
Yeah.
ended up winning a state championship together when we were in high school. Um, but I think it also kind of teaches us that, you know, you can't just rely on having one set position because at whatever level you play at, there's going to be people just as good as you know,
Yeah.
and you need to find a way on the field, whether it's being a designated hitter or finding another position that, you know, you can compete at the level you're playing. I think that's kind of what our relationship taught us too. You know, if we really wanted to be on the field and play at the same time, that we had to find a way to do that because obviously there's not two catchers at once.
So for you, are you the better or is he the better?
I don't know. I think statistically, if you look at his career, he had a really sound career, you know, and trying to live up to that same hype. You know, I think I'm doing all right, but no, he was really talented. So I'm not gonna say I give it to him, but I'd say it's close.
Yeah. No, and Brady, I mean, going through this world and having the opportunities, one thing that you have, like you said earlier, obviously so many people don't get to experience this, is a reclassification of going from one division to another division. This team has history, as I spoke about in the intro, that only women's lacrosse and baseball at LeMoyne had ever had Division One experience as a program. So for you to return, I mean, overall in history, we're returning to Division One. For you, this is the first experience of being in Division One. Do you feel at all, or does the team feel at all, from thinking about alumni and thinking about the history and where everything came from? Do you get a sense for that? Do you get a sense for we got something else on our shoulders besides the 2024 season because we're the team that's bringing it all back? Do you feel that at all, or do you not?
I would say for the most part, no. You know, I think once you start looking at, you know, things outside of your immediate goal, you kind of complicate things. You know, I think our goal every day is basically to go in and win a baseball game. And even simpler than that, you know, like win each inning or win each out or win each pitch. So, you know, obviously the whole reclassification thing, it kind of like looms over our head and we're like, okay, we can get our first win again, you know, but
Yeah.
I think more of that is just really having the desire to compete, you know, and compete every pitch and simplify things because once you start looking at the bigger scale, you know, I think things start to get overwhelming. So I think it's mostly just keeping it simple and just really competing as hard as we can.
Yeah, and looking at the competition, like you said, competing as hard as you can. Your team erased a 5-run deficit most recently at LIU. That in that series, in your first series in the NEC in Northeast Conference play, a historic series because it only happened one time that you ever have your first series in the NEC, and you get the victory in the final game of that series, erasing that 5-run deficit, winning 8-6. Bring me into this matchup because in this one, the 6-run inning that you had a 2-run home run in this game against LIU on the road, Brady. So we saw you go yard, we saw you bring in some runs, and we saw this team have a fantastic response to LIU in the 11th hour at the end of the series. Bring me into your home run and into the game as a whole.
Yeah, so the whole weekend, we up to that point, I wouldn't say we're playing our best baseball, but we understand that we're good enough and that, even though we're down, if we just keep chipping away and keep having great at bats, that good things are going to happen, So that inning, we end up putting up a couple runs, a couple timely hits, and then I came up with 2 outs and guy in scoring position, and I was like, I just want to put the ball in play. I want to challenge the defense. So it was a full count, and our assistant coach, Spagnola, always says, you don't hit home runs, they throw home runs. So if you do your job in the box, good things are going to happen. And it was a 3-2 pitch. And I was just trying to put the ball in play and got one. So that was a really cool moment, and I think it definitely propelled our team to help a victory there. So it's just, but we do a great job as a team of not throwing away any at bats. We might get down early, but we know it's a long game, and we can score really quick and good things can happen. So I don't think that we're out of any game at any point, just because we can put together great at bats, and everyone going to that box knows they have a job to do.
Yeah.
So I think we really take pride in that.
Well, and it's the second consecutive game where you brought in 2 runs, and you don't have to do it on a home run. So, just what you could say about, like you said, that your coaching staff had made mention of the fact that you don't hit home runs, they throw home runs. Well, in the same respect, you're doing your job in the box to find those RBIs and to find those opportunities to just get the hits to the right places to bring guys in. You've done it successfully, especially in these last couple games. Bring me into just evolving in the box and becoming smarter and more methodical in the box to make sure that you're hitting to certain places as well as creating certain opportunities, because you've been able to do that in the very recent history as well.
Yeah, so I think it's, understanding before we get into the box what our approach has to be, what our plan is. Like say if we have a guy on second base less than 2 outs, we know we have to get him over to third so that a sac flies in play. It's kind of just, putting yourself in that moment before you get into the box to understand your role and what you need to do. I think that we do a really good job preparation wise, looking at scouting reports, looking at their tendencies, and looking and seeing how we can have success based on, what their numbers say. But not only that, but also being able to adjust on the fly. Say this guy throws a fastball 70% of the time, and you go up there and you see 2 breaking balls, and you're like, all right, well, I might get another one here, but I also still need to get my job done. A fly out to center field doesn't do any good with less than 2 outs with a guy in scoring position. So I think what we really pride ourselves on is understanding what we have to do, but also translating this from practice. We put ourselves in game situations in practice, or in BP rounds. We try to execute, what the game tells us needs to happen. So I think we take pride in that, and I think we're successful many times because of the way we prepare.
Yeah, and in that preparation, I mean, your head coach, Scott Cassidy, and your coaching staff, you mentioned your coaching staff before, just what they mean to you. I mean, you're from the state of New York, you stayed home, and you gave this staff an opportunity to guide you forward. Just your takeaways from the staff at LeMoyne, led by Scott Cassidy, and how you feel they've done. I mean, you believed in their message, and you've stayed true to their message, and you've stuck with them, so why?
Yeah, I think that they do a good job of, putting people in situations to win. They we prepare well in practice. You know, we get a lot of opportunities. Even young guys, they give young guys a lot of opportunities, all the time. And, I think more than other programs, I think that's a great thing because, like I said earlier, I think teams are really good based on the younger guys they have. Not only that, but once these younger guys play all the time, they get a sense of confidence. And when you start gelling together as a team, it's great. You have a lot of success. And if you look at last year, we started off pretty decent, but then we get to conference play and, we go on a 20 game to like 2 or 3 win run. I think that's a credit to our coaching staff because, they're putting us in situations to win based on the lineup they put out, based on the way they prepare. Um, and I think they do a good job of understanding the game and also, like I said, putting us in situations where we can uh, succeed.
Brady Fureno here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this Dolphin Dive. Brady, it's time for us to play a little thing called Rapid Fire that we do on the show. It allows you to put me on the hot seat, me to put you on the hot seat. It can be about baseball or it could be about literally anything in life. We're here with the LeMoyne catcher speaking on the 2024 baseball season, who gave credit to his older brother Drew and said it's a close contest here. So it's nice to see that, Brady, and appreciate the humbleness there. You get to ask the first question in rapid fire. Anything in the world. What do you got for me?
All right. I'll go with a hot dog, a sandwich.
I've been asked this question multiple times. I'm going to say no. I know some people freak out because there's bread around it, but it's different. It's put into this roll and it's not, in order to be a sandwich, we got to stack it up a certain way. This is kind of like it's almost like a hammock with that you put the hot dog in. So I'm going to go ahead and
All
say
right.
it is not a sandwich. And, when you go to a baseball game, you like a good old hot dog or a coonie. We call them coonies. Some people call them
Yep.
conies. But the coonies that are here, I feel like I lean on those more than hot dogs. But you got to be in the mood for either one of them. And I have to
Mhm.
crisp them up on the grill. I can't,
Okay.
they got to be crispy. And there's got to be a
Yep.
lot of stuff on them.
All right.
All right, Brady, let's see here. If you had to become food for a day, so you had to become a dish, what food would you become and why?
Question. I would say chicken riggies. I've always lived close to the Utica area. Chicken riggies is really big there, and it's got a little bit of kick to it. I think if you look at it, it's a pretty versatile food. It's got a little kick. It's got a little spice. It's got chicken. It's got carbs. It's got everything you want. So I think I'd go with that.
All right. I like that answer. You become chicken riggies. Good answer. Good reason. What's your next one for me?
Let's see if you could choose any athlete of all time to see in person, who would it be?
That's a good question. I'm going to pick somebody that I haven't seen, obviously. So I would say I'm going to go baseball, and it's a multi-tiered answer. I would say Hank Aaron, because I want to
Okay.
see the person that actually set the record without steroids.
Hmm.
I would like to see Whitey Ford because him and I share a birthday of October
Okay.
21st. And I would want to see Jackie Robinson because, historically, he's just such an incredible bridge of what wasn't to what could be. And, he's a pioneer in so many ways in that case. And I would love to just get to sit down with him and talk with him about that.
Great answer.
Thank you. All right, Brady. Let's see here. If you were going to dinner with 3 people, living or have passed away, but any 3 people in the world, could be family, could be celebrities, could be friends, could be baseball players, could be anybody. We're having dinner at a table. You sit down with 3 people. Who are they?
Um, I would say first one's my dad. My dad, is probably one of my best friends. He's been there for everything. I feel like it'd be wrong to leave him out. You know, um, let's see. I would also say this might seem a little outlandish, but I'd say Elton John. My
Okay.
that was my mom's favorite musical artist. Um, I think he'd be someone really cool to have a conversation with. He's had a lot of life experiences, good and bad. So just kind of picking his brain. I'd say we want to go one athlete. So I would say Tom Brady.
Tom
I think
Brady.
he brings a lot to the table. I mean, obviously, probably the greatest football player of all time. So I think that'd be a pretty cool dynamic.
Now, is your dad John?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I got John here this morning on my social media. Joined me here today.
Yep.
So I want
That's him.
want to shout out John Fureno. Shout out to your dad and to the Fureno family. What's your last question for me, Brady?
Oh, let's see. Um, hmm. All right. If you could choose any team to win the World Series in baseball who didn't, who would it be?
Who's never won?
Who's never won? Or a team that probably should have won one year but didn't.
The Arizona Diamondbacks last year. So
Okay.
I would say that. So my dad, I'm a Diamondback fan, but my dad and I went to our first World Series together, and we neither one of us had ever been to Arizona. We've never been to Chase Field, so we went to Game 3, and when my Diamondbacks I was the whole way going in. People, Diamondbacks aren't going to get in. They're not going to get in. They're not going to get in. And the last 15 games they had, all of their series were, for the most part, against like top teams that were leading, like the American League, teams that were leading their division. So they were playing either like the best of the best, or they were playing teams that were leading each division. So either overall they were the best, or they were the best by division, and they had to run through a gamut, and they did it. And, then they go and play the Brewers, and people said, you got no shot. Then they went and played the Dodgers, and they said, you got no shot. And then they went and played the Phillies, and they said, you really got no shot. So, my dad and I turned off the final game of the World Series at around the same time and didn't even know it. He was home, and I was home. And they said, in your 2023 World Series champions, and I went, nope, and I shut it off. So according to my life and my dad's life, I don't know who won the World Series because I didn't hear it. So I definitely, and this is no offense to Ranger fans and no offense to, Ranger players and supporters and managers and all that good stuff. I don't know if I can see their logo without wanting to put my foot, like if it was a cake, I'd put my foot in it. So, and I don't mean that with any type of malice. It's just,
Yep.
as a baseball fan, when that other team is that team that it stands between you and the championship. Growing up as a kid, it was the Braves to the Yankees. Like the Yankees always
Right.
playing the
Right.
Braves. So if the Braves got any wins, Yankees fans were furious. And I grew
Mhm.
up on that because my dad and my grandfather are Yankee fans. But I I could tell you, Brady, I don't know. I don't know if basically, if I get a Texas Ranger, besides Nolan Ryan, if I get any Texas Ranger cards that are worth a lot of money or they're worth $1, I just want
Yep.
someone to take them. I just
Don't
just
blame me there.
get them out of my life. Okay, so
Yep.
my final question for you, Brady. Okay, if you had to, I've never asked this question before in rapid fire. It's a unique one, but let's go with it. If
All right.
you had to serenade somebody on your team for their birthday, so you had to go up and you had to sing at Dick Rockwell Field. You're standing on the mound and you're singing this teammate happy birthday. Which teammate would you choose and why?
Man, that's a good question. Um, yeah, I would say Lucas Ekenhauser.
Okay, why?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Lucas. He's one of my good buddies. I think him and I have a similar sense of humor, so I also think he wouldn't really know what to do with himself if I was serenade him for happy birthday. And I think that'd be one of the most funny parts. So yeah, I think I'd probably say Lucas. I think it'd be I think it'd be pretty comical. I think we both get a kick out of it.
I love it. Appreciate it. So that with Brady Fureno here, Dolphin Dive on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively in our multimedia marketing partnership here with the LeMoyne Catcher. Brady, I appreciate your time, appreciate everything that you guys are doing this season, and looking forward to having you home in just about a week or so. Is it a couple weeks' time? So looking forward to having you back home very soon here and keep working on the road. I know you got Delaware State, and then you get to come home. So we look forward to seeing you, and I appreciate your time today.
Dan, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good.
That coming once again from Brady Fureno here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to jump right into our next piece here with the pitcher on the team here. And so we're going to have Jordan Goldmann joining the show. And we had Jordan set up here, so we're looking to have Jordan back in here to join the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So looking forward to having Jordan here on the broadcast, and I believe we do have Jordan in our queue. So we're going to bring Jordan in so we can get him on to talk about his experience of the baseball season as well. So Jordan Goldmann, once again, a pitcher on the LeMoyne College baseball team for the Dolphins as we await him coming in here. Want to thank you for watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Of course, you can find us 24/7 on social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. We have Jordan here, and we're going to jump in and bring him in picture in picture on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this edition of Dolphin Dive, proudly brought to you in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. So with that being said, we have Jordan Goldmann here with us. Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. And so, I mean, we've got some nice weather behind us right now. Got some blue skies as you're, out here and enjoying life. What are your thoughts on the fact that, at least for now, it's not snowing in central New York?
It's great. It's been cold for a little too long that I'm used to, given that I'm from California, but I'm usually open to everything, and I take everything with a grain of salt. So it's a good experience for me.
Now, you coming from the state of California, why LeMoyne? How did all this happen? Bring us through the journey.
So I played junior college for 3 years. There were a lot of ups and downs. I got injured there and had to stay out there for a while, living at home. And I just needed some reps and innings to pitch in that I didn't get in junior college because of my injury. So my coach back home had a connection out here in Syracuse with the summer ball team. And I ended up just coming out pitching, get some innings, and Coach Cassidy from LeMoyne saw me and he loved me, and he, trusted me with this, with bringing me in this team, and I chose to trust him as well. And I couldn't have, I really love this team, honestly.
And you said you chose to trust Scott Cassidy, the head coach of the team, and they trust you, you trust them, and that, you can't thank them enough about it. Building trust is a difficult thing sometimes, Jordan, and it's not an easy thing. It's an easy thing to lose, but it's not always an easy thing to gain. Why did you trust Scott and his staff in the beginning, and why do you continue to trust them?
Well, really, he was just different from all the other coaches that I've, come in contact with. And I had actually met a lot of coaches from the West Coast and, visiting other schools, especially also coming out here playing summer ball. I met some other coaches from schools nearby or in the state. And he really just set off a different vibe that I'm used to. And it was also similar to the same mentality as my second JUCO that I played at back home. And that was my favorite coach back home. And I was like, well, if I wanted to play my last 2 years out of 4-year college, I think that I want to play it here.
Yeah, and like you said, having the opportunity to have some familiarity in how a coach makes you feel and that connection that you have. You're on the pitching mound. It's not an easy job to do. I think that, I remember playing in Little League and we all wanted to pitch a game. We all wanted to know what it felt like to do that. Pitching is, coming off the conversation with Brady Fureno, he just said to me, my dad told me to play catcher because nobody wants to do it. In the world of pitching, a lot of people want to do it. So how do you navigate through that, and how do you find your place? Because like a quarterback on the football field, a lot of people want to show that they can strike guys out and that they can pitch and they can handle it. So how did you fall in love with wanting to be a pitcher in the first place? And why do you feel like you've stuck with it when it is a very challenging road?
You're right. It is a very challenging road. I think it's probably one of the hardest things to do in sports, given that you're isolated on a mound and in front of everybody, and you are the sole pace of the game, and you dictate what the game does. I think I picked it, and maybe it's become easier over time, because I was right out of high school, I was recruited as a shortstop, and I was usually a two-way player my whole life. And then I converted to pitcher because I really enjoyed the success of the isolation that I had. Even though it was difficult, it had a high reward. Yeah. So, I seeked the challenge of, getting on the mound in front of all those people, in front of every team, and just trying to strike guys out or get outs, and seeking that high reward. I think, it's the same thing as, a hitter trying to get up there and get a homer, you know what I mean? So they get the same feeling. I think I just seek that. But in terms of the mentality and why I chose pitcher over, being a shortstop out of high school, I think it's just the high reward that I get with the high risk, pretty much.
I love what you just said, because in life, if you don't take risks, Jordan, you can't really achieve much of anything. I think a lot of people that are unhappy in their lives are unhappy because of status quo. It's unhappy of like, I didn't really challenge myself. I didn't really go after what I wanted to go after. So if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. You're telling me that's not how you were built. You were built for high risk, high reward. You were built for the challenge. You accepted the isolation. A lot of people run away from challenges. A lot of people run away from everybody's looking at me and I have to do this. And if I don't do this, then, I have myself to blame. Why run toward the storm and not away from it?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I just was kind of raised to seek challenges and seek difficulty and overcome them. I mean, I grew up with parents that took the long route. They didn't really take the shortest, maybe easiest or most cookie cutter route that most people do within their careers, whatever their careers are. And so I just kind of never put a stress on having to do a certain thing in a certain time frame, and in order to produce at that certain time, I just kind of do it at my own pace to get the result that you want at that time, at my own pace. And I seek the challenges that come along with that, whether it's in society or whether it's, physically or mentally. And I've developed a kind of a chase for it, which could be healthy and could be unhealthy, depending on how you're looking at it.
How do we keep it healthy? How do we keep the high risk, high reward that you're talking about a healthy chase?
I think, I've learned over time. Even last year I had difficulty with it because at times I'm a perfectionist and I want to do too much, especially out there on the mound. I want to put a ball in one certain spot when, Coach Cassidy tells me, just put it in the general zone and it'll get there. Just certain things like that, trying to overcome the perfectionism of the sport and just life, and trying to ground yourself maybe in the moment and for the future. Just not taking things too serious. Just trying to have fun, but also having the balance of caring as well. So I think there's a big focus on that.
Here with Jordan Goldmann this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, inside of this edition of Dolphin Dive, exclusive in our multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College. Jordan, being a pitcher, I look at history and I look at the ones that I think about when I think of the job and the brotherhood of pitching, if you will, in the baseball world. Randy Johnson is a Diamondback fan. I call him my favorite mullet. He's one of my favorites of all time, if not my favorite of all time. Nolan Ryan. There's certain guys that just stick out to you, and being a fan of the Diamondbacks now, there's guys that I look to, and there's guys that I just really enjoy watching, and there's also the ones that you don't want to face. If you had to put together a rotation of 5 pitchers all time, living or those that have passed on, what 5 people would you put on the mound?
5 people, starters or relievers?
Let's do it like this. Let's do 5 starters, one, and then like 1 reliever for everybody.
Okay. So I'll start with the reliever.
Okay.
I'll do Oniar Rivera, because he was a demon on the mound.
Okay.
Starters, I'll do Greg Maddux, 1. Pedro Martinez, 2. I think I'm a big Trevor Bauer fan.
Okay.
I think Trevor, given his whole, circumstance, I think if he had a clean career, he'd be one of the best. Who else? Randy Johnson was a demon. I'll put him up there. I'm also a big Diamondback fan.
What? Let's go.
Yes, I am. And then let's see, 5. What's a good one? I guess Nolan Ryan too. I'll have to say him too.
Okay, fair enough. So I had no idea. I have a World Series thing. You could see it in the corner right here. I have a World Series scarf, but let me see if I can pull this off here without breaking anything in the studio. So this sits behind me every show.
Oh wow!
This was there for us at the World Series, and so was the World Series scarf. And then my buddy Brendan, who joins me every Monday, and DT and Murphy, he said to me a couple sports card shows ago, he goes, I just want one big card. And what he meant by it was he wanted one expensive, like, good card that he can keep or sell. But it's been a running joke, and now this is my big card in the studio.
Oh, wow.
But I also have the prospect auto of Corbin Carroll, 10 out of 10. And then I have 2 other rookie 10 out of 10s. And then people now, like my big brother, just gives me Corbin Carroll cards, so I have them sitting here. And you'll appreciate this too. This is you can only buy them at the fields, I believe, or maybe you could have gotten them online, but these were at the store, the commemorative for the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, and the World Series here, because I brought my dad to Game 3 of the World Series. We had never been to Arizona, never been to Chase Field, and so now I got show and tell. I didn't know you were a Diamondback fan, Jordan. What the heck? How did you become a Diamondback fan?
I was born in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of family out there, and I just moved around when I was older, but I stuck with the Arizona sports and, fell in love with it.
So you're a Diamondback fan. So now let's not talk about anything else but the Diamondbacks. No, I'm kidding. So, but just to enlighten me here, since finding another Diamondback fan not in Arizona is like me finding Bigfoot in the wild. So can I just enjoy this for a moment? Tell me
no problem.
Your favorite. I want to know like your favorite Diamondbacks of all time, and if you have a favorite. Okay, so here it's a 3-part question. Bring me into where you were and what you were doing when they advanced to the World Series in 2023. Tell me your favorite Diamondback player of all time and what you think about them moving forward.
Okay, so I was here in my college house watching the World Series and the whole entire postseason.
Okay.
And I was with my roommate, Billy Hoffacker. He's a Phillies fan, so I was watching the championship series.
Just kidding.
And heated, but it was a good series. And my favorite of all time, there's a couple. I think Randy Johnson has to be one. He was a big player for that team. This is a sleeper, but Craig Counsell, with the game-winning hit 2-1.
Okay.
And I think Paul Goldschmidt. I was a big Paul Goldschmidt fan growing up. I got his autograph twice when I was younger, like 12, and I went to Chase Field a couple times and ran up to get his autograph. And I was really mad that when he left, but I think it was a good decision when he left because Diamondbacks sucked at that time. So I think that the Diamondbacks moving forward are looking good. They have really good prospects. I've known for years that they've had really good draft classes.
Yeah.
I had some, suspicion that they were gonna win, but it was tough because the Dodgers are in the same division, and the Giants are also really good. But I'm glad that they got the showing they deserved last year, and I hope they can keep it up this year.
Yeah, I think it was like 32 of 33 players designated for arbitration were all coming back on the team, almost the entire team. People forget that Jordan Lawler wasn't even a part of the World Series run. So, there's a lot to be had. I said they needed one more pitcher at least in the rotation for Game 4, and they went and got somebody. So I'm very hopeful. Now I got somebody to watch the games with, Jordan. I hope you know that you're stuck with me now. I'm sorry.
So, that's exciting because everybody does not know the Diamondbacks out here, so
no,
I can relate.
Right, and it's sad. So let's go back into the Dolphins before I let you go here. You and I will have plenty of time to talk about the Diamondbacks as well. But to get back to the fact that this team this season, as I spoke with your teammate Brady Fureno about, is that LeMoyne College baseball was one of 2 teams, including women's lacrosse, that had ever had Division I program experience. Returning to Division I, you have run the gamut of being in a bunch of different states and being on the road to start off this season, the return to D1 here in 2024. You've gotten a win in every single series and I'll call them series here, multi-game opportunities, because Bucknell is the only one. You played one game there and lost that game. But in the series with Houston Christian, you got a victory down in Texas. You got a victory in Virginia against Radford. You got a victory in Missouri against St. Louis. You got a victory in the NEC against LIU in Brookville, New York. So looking at these, I know you want to win every game. I know as a team, you want that record to say whatever -0, but to be in all of these series, to compete in all of these series, and to get a win in every single one of these multi-game series this season, what does it say about the team that in every state that you've been in, when you're playing in a multi-game series, you've been able to pull away at least one victory?
I think it says a lot to our team. I think, the results at the end of the week, our goal is to get a series win, right? But you can't win them all. But I think it shows that we're up there and we shouldn't be slept on, and we should not be, taken for granted as a team. And we just moved up from D2 and stuff like that. And I'm sure many teams and coaches are feeling that way. But we are a very good team. We're a very good hitting team, and when we're on, we're a very good pitching team. And when we connect those two, it's really hard to beat us. So I think we are a very good team. I think we're going through some ups and downs, but what team doesn't? So,
well, and you got the opportunity here to get your first win of the season after allowing 4 earned runs with 4 strikeouts in 6 innings in this last victory for LeMoyne as a whole against LIU on the road. In that series, the LeMoyne Dolphins win the final game of that series against the LIU Sharks, and now you have that first victory under your belt. Just what you could say about most recently here, going out, getting a win, and just what that experience is for you, what it means for you as you step forward to get your first win of the season, and that happening very recently here.
It's good. I'm excited that I could put my team in a position to win. The past couple starts I've had were pretty shaky, working through some things, mechanical issues or, mentality on the mound, but starting to get into that midseason form, which is good, and right in time for conference play. I'm just glad I could put my team in a position to win.
And we know that you're going to have time out there, which I'm excited about. You're going to be home soon. Haven't been home yet, but you will be home on March 22nd through the 24th against FDU. Then you go to St. Bonnie's in the state. Then you're home against Coppin State, home against Canisius, home against Stonehill. So we get you home for a long time here within the end of March, beginning of April. How excited are you to get to a familiar place, Dick Rockwell Field, and to stand on the mound of your home here in March?
I'm excited. I love pitching here. I think the atmosphere that we get on a sunny day is pretty good and different than any other, field or atmosphere that we play at. I think the fans that we get here are pretty great, and we have a tight student body. So I think it'll be exciting, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Jordan, before I let you go, we do a thing on the show called Rapid Fire, and it allows us the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, get to know me a little bit better. We put each other on the hot seat. So we're here with LeMoyne pitcher Jordan Goldmann speaking on the 2024 baseball season inside of Dolphin Dive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership between Wake Up Call and the LeMoyne College Dolphins. You get the first question. We're going to rapid fire back and forth. It could be baseball or anything in the world whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead. What do you got for me?
Oh, wait, questions for you?
Yeah, we're going to go back and forth.
Okay, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is green, and not because of money, just because I really like the color green for whatever reason. And growing up as a kid, I was the Green Ranger, so I'm going to say green. All right, Jordan, let me see what I got for you. If you had to pitch against the greatest hitter in Diamondback history, who is it, and what are your thoughts about it?
The greatest hitter
Yep.
in Diamondback? It's an amazing question. Well, given that I grew up with Paul Goldschmidt as my idol, I think Paul Goldschmidt, and he would be a great challenge. He'd probably hit a couple homers off of me, but
Okay.
it is, and I think I would learn a lot.
I like it. I figured that's who you're going to pick, so I like it. What's your next question for me?
Other than the Diamondbacks, what would be your second favorite team?
It's a cross between, and I know people are going to scream at me from the Long Island, New York City area, and they're going to say, pick one. But it would be between the Mets and the Yankees. I have a soft spot for the Mets. I know a lot of Mets fans, but when I was a kid, like 4 years old, I got a pair of sunglasses, and it's the one pair of sunglasses I probably consider my first pair. And they're blue, and they had the Mets logo, so you couldn't see my eyes, but I could see through them, obviously. And so those have kind of followed me wherever I've gone. I got a soft spot for them because of Jacob deGrom, who I know is not there anymore, but still. And then the Yankees, because of my dad and my grandpa. My grandpa's up in heaven. My dad and I, we got to. He never had been to Old Yankee Stadium or New Yankee Stadium, and I brought him years back to the new Yankee Stadium. Got us tickets, all the up top, literally dead center. So we were sitting right on the edge from the 400 level, so we could see the entire field. It was like a perfect center spot, and it was on Jackie Robinson Day. And it was Mariano Rivera's last season. So that was really cool. So I'd probably say the Yankees and the Mets. I like seeing the prospects come up through the Syracuse Mets, and I like going to Yankee games, and I want to get myself over to Citi Field for a Met game. So I'd probably say those teams would be a second, but it's a distant second to my kids. I mean, I've been a Diamondback fan since they came into fruition. So yeah, I can't. They will always be number one. All right, let's see here, Jordan. Okay, so your first name being Jordan, is Michael the greatest ever, or is it LeBron, and why?
I think it's Michael Jordan because he played a different era of basketball that was more physical and more aggressive, and less lenient on the better player. because I think LeBron gets away with a lot and a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
And a lot of because he's the greatest of all time in his era. So I think that's why it's Michael Jordan.
I have other reasons, but I agree. I agree very much so. What's your last question for me, Jordan?
So I don't know if you played ball in high school or anything, but if you did play ball in high school, what position did you play? But if you didn't, what position would you play in baseball?
So I will tell you that I played Little League, and then I played in a league like post-college. I kind of filled in a couple times on a team. But I would say I got hit by a wild pitch in Little League, so that kind of brought me to a place where I wasn't like 100% in, and then after I got hit, I'm like, But if I could go back and play again, I really wanted my coach to let me pitch. And I just really wanted the opportunity to be on the mound. So I would say that if I could go back and I could play, that I would be a pitcher. And yeah, because I mean, the fields, I respect every position, but I didn't want to be in the outfield. I didn't necessarily want to have, a ball coming at me at 90 miles an hour on the third base line. So I'd probably want to be a pitcher because, like you, I like the challenge of being in the minority of there's no way that these people can be successful, and then going out there and proving myself right. So I'd probably say pitcher.
Great answer.
Thank you. My last question for you. We got a lot in common, Jordan. All right, let's see here. My final question for you is, so I asked a singing question to Brady, so I'm going to ask you a singing question. If you had to sing a song in front of your teammates on this LeMoyne baseball team, what song would you pick to sing to all of them after a victory? Let's say we're at Dick Rockwell Field, you guys get a win, and then you go out with the microphone, and there's fireworks out there, and you sing this song. What song is it, and why?
Firework by Katy Perry. Probably what it is.
All right. Why? Just because of the fireworks?
Yeah, probably.
All right. I like it. Good answers from you and your teammate. Jordan Goldmann here with me, LeMoyne pitcher, Dolphin Dive. Jordan, it is an honor and a privilege to have you here on the show and to have you on the mound for the LeMoyne College Dolphins on the Heights. I look forward to our continued conversations. Look forward to everything you guys get to do on the road against Delaware State. And then we'll see you back at home on March 22nd in the opener for Division I's return at LeMoyne at Dick Rockwell Field, March 22nd against FDU. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they will be home for that series. And you and I are going to have to talk more Diamondbacks, so we'll make sure we do that. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your time as well.
All right, take care. Have a good day.
Yeah.
That coming from Jordan Goldmann one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we spin back around, Papa Joe will join us a day early. We're going to stick with baseball here. So a lot of baseball coming to you this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Then we're going to shift gears to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and PJ and I are going to discuss what is going on in Jacksonville, the decisions that they're making. Do we agree or disagree with them? That's all coming up after this, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful morning this morning, as we are here and the weather is better. The snow is gone because it doesn't make any sense in central New York at all. And what I mean by that is the fact that the snow comes and then it's like 60 the next day. And then the snow comes back, and then it's like 40, and then it's 50, and then the snow's gone again. We literally get snow on like a Monday, and then a couple days later, the snow has found its way away, unless it's like in the shade somewhere. It's very strange. I think that my allergies have now, they've been pretty good. But as of late, as of like this morning, I feel like I can't breathe that well. So hopefully this weather will cure itself and figure itself out, and we can find some peace with it. But we are very excited to have Papa Joe a day early here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. After spending the first hour with the LeMoyne College Dolphins baseball team in their return to Division I here in the 2024 season, in all of their multi-game series this season, they have won at least one of those games within each of the multi-game series, defeating Houston Christian, as well as Radford, St. Louis, and most recently in their first ever NEC series, defeating Long Island in the final game of that series. And that having, obviously our two guests that we had on today, Brady Fureno, the catcher, had a 2-run home run in that game against LIU for the 8-6 victory, coming down from down 5 runs. And getting his first victory of the season on the mound, Jordan Goldmann, pitcher, who we just had on the show. So Dolphin Dive, where you're going to find stories and opportunities with student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni that you won't have anywhere else, are right here in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with LeMoyne College. And I want to thank Brady and Jordan for being a part of the show today, and all of those that support them and have watched and listened this morning and will watch and listen on the playback of this special as well. In hour number 2, it's PJ time. You know he's with us on Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, but we had to switch things around this week because my dad has something going on here. We ask for your prayers. My dad's we got some stuff we got to do as a family this week, and so I just asked for your prayers for my dad. Give him strength and peace and faith and just goodness all around, and health, so please, and wellness. So please pray for my dad, and we appreciate that so very much. And that is why PJ is joining us a day early here to speak on the final third of our alphabetical order move through spring training, to give you what's going on in Major League Baseball. So the last couple weeks we did the first third of the alphabet and then the middle portion of the alphabet, and now we have the opportunity to finish things off here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with PJ. But before we let him loose on Major League Baseball, we got to see how he's doing. PJ, what's going on down in the great state of Florida?
It's nice, beautiful weather. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Mary and I took a side trip yesterday. We decided to just get out and jump in a vet, took the top off the vet, and drove down to the Ponce Inlet, which is down south of Daytona, which is where I grew up, and had a lot of fun. Walked the beach, went through the museum area, looked at the lighthouse, had dinner at our favorite place called Aunt Catfish's. And then we got home around 6:30. So it was a wonderful day. The car drive, that's the furthest we've taken the car out since we bought it, and that's been over 6 months ago. So car ran well, which I expected we did, and we had fun.
Yeah, and I know that you were telling me about the time that you took away, and I want to just take an aside to everything for a second here. And, you and MT, you have shown me over the years just what true love can look like. And, the beauty of finding it through adversity, finding it through not necessarily finding it the first time around or the second time around. And I want to say thank you that you guys show what you show, because when you texted me yesterday and said, hey, we went out to the lighthouse and we went out to, grab some dinner. We've just had a wonderful day. And, we took the car out and took the top down and whatnot. It says a lot to me that after all these years that you've been together, you continue to romance each other, you continue to go on dates, and you continue to take care of each other and care for each other and really, want to see each other smile. And in a world that has so much hate in it and people that are very fickle in relationships and at the first sign of adversity, they run, I want to show an example this morning and thank and applaud an example this morning that you and Mary set, that you just truly love each other, you look out for each other, you take care of each other, and you're always doing sweet things and sharing that love. And I want to say thank you for that, because that example of love helps me to believe that there is love out there, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. It's very kind of you. And we are devoted to each other. We've been this way for the entire 30 years that we've been together. We knew that when we met, we were both something special for each other. So here we are 30 years later, and still doing the same things we like to do. We enjoy each other's company. We very rarely, really, really rarely, ever had a cross word to say to each other. I can't even remember the last time we even had an argument. So there's hope out there for the people that think they're lost, like you and my son. So you guys hopefully will be able to taste the love and enjoyment that we have, and you'll find your soulmate. Just got to give it time and trust God.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Who's better than MT? We know that. So, and I hope Miss MT is listening. And MT, this is because I love you, and it's because I've said go Gators a couple times this week already. So, MT, I hope you're within an earshot of me for me to go, oh. But
I do have to say that Florida State beat Florida in baseball yesterday, 12-8. So
yeah,
they're undefeated this year. They got a very, very good team. So we'll see what the season brings down the line.
Yeah, well,
baseball. There's so much going on in baseball that even the third part of our there's some action for the third part of our series here, and there's still some major free agents out there that haven't signed. So I'll broach some of those subjects when we start.
Yeah, so we're going to hop right into it. Right now, we have, and like we've said, and I'm going to be airing these as individual specials, but you can, of course, go back and watch them on YouTube and just go to hour number 2 with Papa Joe these last couple weeks, but they will be their own individual specials as well. We've been going through Major League Baseball. There's 30 franchises, so it makes it easy for us to do the first third, the second third, and the final third from these last 3 weeks here in succession, starting with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and today we'll end with the Washington Nationals. So we got 10 more to go, which is going to bring us to the Philadelphia Phillies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Mariners, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Tampa Bay Rays, the team that won the 2023 World Series that I don't need to talk about. I'm kidding. The Texas Rangers, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Washington Nationals. All jokes with the Texas Rangers. Obviously, I'm impartial as a broadcaster. In the comfort of my own home, it's tough. But as a broadcaster, y'all know that I have the utmost respect for the Rangers, and they played one hell of a series, and they deserve to win the World Series the way that they were pitching and hitting down the stretch. So with that being said, PJ, I now officially unleash you to start the conversation on the last third, which starts with the Philadelphia Phillies and the moves that these teams have made to shape up who they are in 2024.
Okay, well, good. We'll continue with the Phillies then. Their biggest signing this year was starting pitcher Aaron Noah, who obviously played for them last year. This is huge. They signed 7 years, $172 million. Nola's got the reputation sort of like a rubber arm. He really throws hard, and he throws a lot of starts. He was 12-9 last year with a 4.46 ERA. That doesn't tell his value to the team, though. He's pitched almost 200 innings. That's the value of the team. Anytime you can get a pitcher these days, these modern days, even pitch 150 innings is a miracle. 193 for him is remarkable. So he's an extraordinary pitcher and someone that they're going to rely on to carry them forward. On their hitting end of it, they got Whit Merrifield. They got from the Blue Jays. Merrifield last year hit 272, 11 homers, 67 RBIs. They signed Whit for a 1-year, $8 million contract. Now, that isn't all what I read about the Phillies. The Phillies, I don't know about this, if this is even true, but this really piqued my interest, and I had to dig for this one. There is some talk that the Phillies are looking to trade for Mike Trout. You got to let that settle in for a minute here. You got to realize that Mike Trout is from Jersey, right across the river from the Phillies. He's a huge Philadelphia Philly fan and a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. I mean, that's when he's not playing baseball, he's watching the Eagles. I don't know how they would swing that because, you know, he's got a $426 million contract that he paid something like $40-something million a year. I don't know. First of all, he'd have to agree to it, and I think he would be because he's a 5- and 10-year guy, meaning you have to be on your team for 10 years, and he was. The 11th year was at Angels. You know, the more you look at it, with Ohtani leaving the Angels and how I really like them as a ball club, they're not going anywhere. And I think he's resigned to the fact that perhaps maybe he should look into something like this. So if the airways sound with something like that, you know we heard it first. So we'll see what happens. We'll go to the Pittsburgh Pirates next. They re-signed their pitcher, Mitch Keller. He was 13-9 last year, 4.28 ERA, 210 strikeouts. Tough pitcher. Another guy with a rubber arm, pitched 194 innings. I love it. They signed him 5 years, $77 million. The Pirates maybe could be competitive this year. I doubt it, but we'll see. They did get Martin Perez from the Rangers, which is something because the Rangers just won the World Series. He was 10-4, 4.45 ERA, pitched 141 innings. Tough left-handed pitcher. 1 year, $8 million deal. They also re-signed Andrew McCutchen. Now, if you've been around baseball for, say, 15 years, you know that Andrew McCutchen is one of the premier players in baseball. He's slowed down a little bit now. I mean, he's in his mid-30s. But he started with Pittsburgh, then he went to Philadelphia. Now he's back to Pittsburgh. He's got a 1 year, $5 million deal. He's a former most valuable player in the National League. He did hit 256 last year, 12 homers, 43 RBIs. I'm sure he's going to be a platoon player. He still can play the game tough. And he will be maybe not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he will eventually be in a Hall of Fame. Right-handed pitcher Marco Gonzalez comes from the Braves and with the Mariners. He was 4-1 with 5.22 ERA. Don't know why they signed him, but I'm not sure he's going to make the team, but at least he's there. The trade to the Braves was a cash deal, so, you know, those kind of deals don't really work out that well. So good luck, Marco, trying to make the team. However, the next guy is a little bit dangerous. Aroldis Chapman, we know him from years. He's been in the league. He's the first pitcher that started throwing over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
He can still do it in his mid-30s. Although he was 6-5 last year, 3.09 ERA, 103 strikeouts, and only 58 innings. He's strictly a closer. Only look for him to go 1 inning at best. He came from the Rangers, so 1 year, $10.5 million deal. He comes to the Pittsburgh. I like that. We go to the San Diego Padres. Shortstop Jurickson Profar from the Rockies signed with San Diego. He had 242, 9 homers, 46 RBIs, 1 year, $1 million deal. Sometimes these deals don't work out. In Jerkson, I think he probably will be because he used to be for the Rangers too. Now, this is how far back I go back with Jerkson profile, if it's the same Jerkson. I saw him play in the Little League World Series when he played for Curacao. And I'm almost the same as the same guy. So that's that little tidbit there. Left-handed pitcher Wandy Peralta came from the Yankees. 4 years, $16.5 million deal. He was 2.83 ERA, 54 innings. He's strictly a reliever. Anytime you kind of a tough left-handed reliever, you got to get him. 4 years, $16.5 million deal. Good for them. Left-handed pitcher Yuki Matsui. I guess they re-signed him because they re-signed him for $28 million. And I don't know anything about this guy. So I hope he can bring it. But anytime you're a left-handed pitcher, and maybe coming from Japan, they have something secret over there. But who knows? Now look at this. Listen, here's another one. You got a right-handed pitcher, Woo Suk Gu. Say that 5 times. He was 3-8, 3.68 ERA, 59 strikeouts. He came from the Korean baseball organization. They signed him for 2 years, $4.5 million deal. I think they're going to be a little patient with him since they got that kind of money invested in him. But certainly a record like 3-8, a 3.5 ERA is not outstanding. He only pitched 40 innings, which is telling me that he's a right-handed closer, somewhere around like that. Late innings guy. Maybe can throw 2 innings sometimes, maybe an inning. You go to the San Francisco Giants. They made a score last week by signing one of the most valuable players on this list that we got that are still free agents, and that's Max Chapman. He came from the Blue Jays. Max hit 240, 17 homers, 54 RBIs, 3 years, $54 million deal. That doesn't say everything about Max Chapman. Matt Chapman is a glove man. I mean, this guy can pick it at third base. Nothing gets by him. He's incredible. He's really, really, really slick feeling. Of course, he had Scott Boras as his agent, and therein lies where teams have a difficult time trying to sign these players because Scott Boras is their agent. And he bends these guys. He bends the franchises backwards to get his guys signed. He does a hell of a job. Infielder, outfielder Jonah Cox got traded. He hit 287, 2 home runs, 16 RBIs. I don't know where you're going with this. I'm not looking forward to seeing him on the team at all. Left-handed pitcher Robbie Ray came from the Mariners. Made 1 start before having Tommy John surgery. They had a trade deal with him with the Yankees, and it was a mess. Anyway, Robbie Ray used to pitch quite a number of innings years ago. I'm not sure. He certainly, if you went on an injured reserve with a Tommy John surgery, chances are he won't make it back this year. If he does, it'll be for the last half. So we'll see how important that is. Catcher Tom Murphy came from the Mariners. Tom hit 290, 8 home runs, 17 RBIs. You heard me screech on this telecast all the time. Just because you have a good pitcher, you got to have a good catcher. This guy's a good catcher. 2 years, $8 million from the Mariners. He will make it easy and probably be a platoon catcher. Center fielder Jung Hoon Lee. Now come on. 2023 stats, 318, 6 homers, 45 RBIs. He comes from the Haewoon Heroes in a Korean baseball organization. They signed this guy for 6 years, $113 million. Now, you've heard me bitch for years about why can't we sign our American players instead of going around the friggin' world to get these players. I mean, I've been watching Flagler baseball for the last 3 weekends, and there are some guys that can play out there. We had a guy come in from Columbus that hit 2 home runs about 500 feet. I mean, come on. I mean, there's plenty of players out there. The minor leagues have plenty of players. The NCAA has plenty of players. Yet these guys got to go around the world and sign these guys. You know, that's not going to be the last time you're going to hear me say that. So get used to it. I don't like it, and I really don't stand for it. But I'm a pundit, and I got to do what I got to do. Next, we got right-handed pitcher Jordan Hicks. Came from the Blue Jays. He was 3-9 with a 3.29 ERA, 81 strikeouts, 65 innings. Relief pitcher, tough guy. 4 years, $44 million deal. So I think that they're going to be looking for Jordan Hicks to pick up the rear end of their games. Designated hitter Jorge Soler comes up next. Now this guy's a killer. 250 batting average, 36 homers, 75 RBIs. He came from the Marlins. 3 years, $42 million deal. The heart of the San Francisco Giant is going to have this guy in it with Matt Chapman. So they're going to be pounding the ball. Love this guy. I hate to see him leave the Marlins, but you know they go with the money. What are you going to do? Next team we got Seattle Mariners. Outfielder Luke Raley comes from the Rays. He had 249.
Yeah.
19 homers, 49 RBIs. It was a trade return for Caballero. This guy will make the team. He'll probably be a platoon outfielder. Good addition by Seattle. Outfielder Mitch Haniger. He had 209 last year. Wasn't a killer. 6 homers, 28 RBIs. Don't know what happened to Mitch. He's been around for several years. He's not playing as well as he should. However, they got another guy with the trade from the Giants, Anthony DeScalfani. He's got a 4.8 record, 4.88 ERA, 79 strikeouts. Again, a late reliever. It's questionable. So both of these guys, even though Haniger's been in the league for several years, both of these guys I think are questionable to do some good for Seattle. They did sign a catcher, though, Mitch Garver from the Rangers. Tough guy. And he was the main guy from Texas to catch all their All-Stars. He had 270, 19 homers, 50 RBIs, 2-year, $24 million deal. That is a big deal for Seattle. Because now they can throw this guy behind the plate. He's going to be their starting catcher, I'm sure, and he's going to make the pitching staff look good. They also signed infielder Jorge Polanco from the Twins. Jorge's been around a long time, too. He had 255, 14 homers, 48 RBIs. They got out of trade with the Giants, with DeScalfani. Previous team was the Twins. These guys bounce around a lot. I don't get it. Polanco's been around a number of years, and he's also still a very good player. So I hope that they use him correctly. St. Louis Cardinals are next. They made their score early. They've signed Sonny Gray from the Twins. He was 8-8 with a 2.79 ERA, 183 strikeouts, 184 innings, strikeout per inning. Good. Sonny Gray has been tough for a number of years. 3-year, $75 million deal. It's from the Twins, and it's a killer deal for St. Louis. He changes leagues. The other hitters aren't going to be too familiar with him because he's in the National League now. Although I did read last week that he got hurt. I'm not sure what the extent of that is. You heard me also bitch about these guys in an off-season. Why don't they take care of themselves in their arms? You know, they come in spring training, they start throwing some pitches, they get in some simulated games, and their shoulder hurts, or their arm hurts, or their wrist hurts. You know, if you make this kind of money, you can afford to have a personal trainer 12 months a year. You don't need to go through all this pain. I don't know why these guys aren't that smart, but they should be. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Gibson is next. Came from the Orioles. He was 15-9, 4.73 ERA, 157 strikeouts, and 192 innings. 1 year, $12 million deal. This is a starting pitcher for them, and it's going to help them an awful lot. St. Louis will love to have this guy. Right-handed pitcher Lance Lynn comes from the Dodgers. Lance Lynn has been around a number of years, too. For the Dodgers last year, he was 13-11, 5.73 ERA, 191 strikeouts, and 183 innings. Another rubber iron guy, been around a long time. Didn't really bring it last year. I think his fastball is probably down a couple miles per hour. Anyway, they signed him for a 1-year, $10 million deal. So good luck with that one, too.
Yeah.
Designated hitter Matt Carpenter comes up next. He came from the San Diego Padres. Matt Carpenter's bounced around for several years. He had his good years when he was the St. Louis Cardinals. But last year, he only hit 176, 5 homers, 13 RBIs. And I think he was released. And so someone picked him up. San Diego's obviously picked him up, but they only give him a 1-year, $740,000 contract because that's the minimum for a tenured player. So it's a 1-year deal, and I don't know if Matt will make the team because that's a real cheap deal. Next comes the Tampa Bay Rays. They only business one time. They got the trade from the Mariners infielder Jose Caballero that I mentioned with Luke Raley trade. Jose only hit 221, 4 homers, 26 RBIs. Don't know where this is going either. I don't know if he'll make the team, but he can speak Spanish, so maybe that helps Tampa Bay. The next team is the Toronto Blue Jays. Their big score was signing Justin Turner from the Red Sox. If you remember right, Turner played for the Dodgers for years and went for the Red Sox last year. For some reason, the Red Sox didn't find him as valuable as everyone else did because they couldn't re-sign him. So what does he do? He goes to Toronto for $13 million. He had 276 last year, 23 homers, 96 RBIs. Plays a hell of a third base also. Is a real stud at the plate, and he can turn a double play too. So this is a big pickup for Toronto because they lose. Remember, they lost Chapman. They bring in Justin Turner. Next is an infielder, outfielder, Isaiah Kiner Khalifa, came from the Yankees. This guy I thought would stick with the Yankees for a while. I don't know why. He didn't stick. He had 242, 6 homers, 37 RBIs, 14 stolen bases. So he's a talented player, play infield and outfield. He's a good utility guy. And again, I don't understand why the Yankees didn't sign him, but he goes to Toronto for a 2-year, $15 million deal. So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Next is Evan Keimerer. Used to be with Tampa Bay for years. Now he's staying with them. He's got 265, 8 homers, 36 RBIs. He is a fleet outfielder. Used to grab anything in center field. Don't know where they're going to play him this year, but I think that he'll do well. He's a good player. 1-year, $10 million deal. Nothing wrong with that either. Next, we got right-handed pitcher Yariel Rodriguez. They re-signed him. 6-2 record. Excellent. 1.15 ERA. He played in the Japanese league for a while, and then he was pitching to prepare himself for the league. Anyway, he got a 4-year, $32 million deal to do that. So I guess he's going to be okay. So they went again. You got to go outside outside everything to get our players. It still grates me to talk about it. But let's bring up the Texas Rangers, who we know won the World Series against the D-backs.
Yeah.
They signed right-handed pitcher Tyler Mayer, came from the Twins. 1-2 record, 3.16 ERA. He was a spot starter. Don't know why they didn't use him more. But anyway, they signed him for a 2-year, $22 million deal. So he's got to be valuable. I couldn't see it, but they obviously think he is valuable. So we'll see. Maybe he'll be a spot starter. Maybe he'll long reliever. Next comes David Robertson. Came from the Marlins. Last year he was 6-6 with a 3.03 ERA. Good middle reliever, this guy, and sometimes a closer. 1 year, $11 to $12 million. Super. super pitcher, and will be used long spot starter and for long relief. And bringing up the rear is the Washington Nationals. They got Joey Gallo from the Twins. Gallo used to be with Texas, then he's with the Yankees for a while, then he went to the Twins. But he's not going anywhere. He hit 177 with 21 homers and 40 RBIs. How do you only bat 177 and still hit 21 homers and 40 RBIs? That, boggles my mind.
Strike out a lot.
Hitter, he's tough to hit against, but left-handers got him out real easy last year. He got a 1-year, $5 million deal. Comes from the Twins. Last but not least, we got outfielder, third baseman Nick Senzel from the Reds. He had 236, 13 homers, 42 RBIs. This guy can play anywhere. He's a very valuable player. Only signed for 1 year, $2 million deal. Came from the Reds, so good luck with that one, too. Nick Senzel will be around, though, for them. Top free agents are still available, Daniel. There's Brandon Bell, J.D. Martinez, Jordan Montgomery, who I thought would be signed by now. And, of course, the big one is Blake Snell.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jockeying going on in baseball for him between the Yankees and the Angels and the Dodgers and the Twins, and all sorts of people are messing with him. And guess who his agent is? Scott Boras.
Yeah.
So you can tell, I told you last week, I wouldn't be surprised that by this week he was signed with a $200 million deal. No one's done that yet, but it's going to take $200 million to sign this guy. Scott Boras knows that, and so do the other teams. Daniel,
yes.
That's our 31 teams.
We got all the teams in, and every single one. PJ breaking it down here. 30 Major League Baseball franchises in alphabetical order from the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Washington Nationals. Making a note that the Washington Nationals, one of their pitchers is Josiah, a.k.a. JoJo Gray, who calls the LeMoyne College Dolphins his alma mater. So shout out to JoJo Gray, who's out there doing awesome things, was voted to be an all-star, and has found his way to being as a starter in Major League Baseball in rotation for the Washington Nationals, coming from the LeMoyne College Dolphins baseball program.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's going to a lousy team.
Well,
Maybe he'll get to play for it,
And Ryan Murphy, also coming from the LeMoyne Dolphins, another pitcher who started off coming up the ranks with the San Francisco Giants farm system. So a shout out to Ryan Murphy as well, and the hopes for these LeMoyne College Dolphins to continue to do what they've done all the way up to this point, which is represent the heights very well with LeMoyne College. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. PJ and I are going to shift from one field to the next. And after PJ gave us the final third of Major League Baseball in their moves and what's going on, you'll now be able to go back and listen on our many channels. And I was showing you these during the conversation here with PJ. For those of you that are watching on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, then on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube, you will be able to find these conversations between myself and Papa Joe on every single one of the 30 Major League Baseball franchises as we head into 2024 in a 3-part series that will air on all of these channels, proudly brought to you by Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. PJ and I, like I said, will take a step aside for a fast break. When we spin back around, it's time to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Making some moves, making a lot of moves. And what do these moves mean for people that are currently on the team? We'll discuss it right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts
centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is open 7 days a week. And if you have never collected cards before, this is a perfect place to go and start. And if you've been collecting your entire life, this is a great place to continue because GG Cards and Breaks is there to walk you through it. Their incredible staff, they love the sports card world. They collect cards themselves, and they're constantly opening different things, and they're not just bringing in product and saying, buy this or buy that. They're buying the product. They're looking at the product. They're going through it and finding the things that are awesome. They're researching and understanding each of the pieces that they bring in, what those pieces mean, what you can find in them, and they're excited to see you win. They want to know who's your favorite team, who's your favorite player, and if they've got something in for that, if they've got a single or a graded card in, they'll bring you over to that in the showcase and let you know, like, hey, we just got this in today. We got some of these different players here. Why don't you check the team box to see if you can find it?
the customer service, the care, the appreciation, and the love for the hobby. There's so many reasons why I go into GG Cards and Breaks, and it's because I value the people that are there and they value the people that come in. So make sure you head off to GG Cards and Breaks today and open up a pack, open up a box. If you've never done it before, folks, it's exhilarating. I just got a box that I'm going to do a box break for. I got another 2024 blaster box of Topps Baseball. The first one that I open, great. The second one, excited for hopefully even more, and we're going to be bringing that to you this week. Head off to GG Cards and Breaks, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, all sport, soccer, AEW, Disney Lorcana, as well as Pokemon. You can find it all, including some Marvel cards as well, of like the Venom and the X-Men and so on and so forth. You can find all of that at GG Cards and Breaks 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays from 10 to 5 on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Experience the difference at GG Cards and Breaks. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, PJ and I got one more thing to talk about before we round out today's show, and that is the Jacksonville freaking Jaguars. That's right, baby. It's time to talk about the Jaguars. We're on the prowl again, and Jacksonville has been making some moves. Now, Jaguars did not come into the offseason with a lot of money. They came into the offseason with $29 million, which is a far cry from what they had just a few years back when they had around 70, I want to say it was 76 million, something like that. So almost 50 million more to work with. Well, this time around, because they have made some good moves, and these people that they brought in, I almost said student athletes here because we all know they're making money. But when we look at what's happened with the Jacksonville Jaguars, is they've brought in a lot of talent, and bringing in this talent is not cheap. And they're going to have to figure out a new contract with Josh Allen, their outside linebacker, a.k.a. their edge rusher. Here's the thing. Jacksonville having $29 million, if they keep the franchise tag with Josh Allen, then he's going to account for 24 of $29 million, leaving them with $5 million to work with. But we've seen some restructuring, which I can appreciate. Now, last year, I believe there was a restructuring. Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, I think, restructured their contract there. We also had a restructuring this year of the Brandon Sheriff, offensive guard, reworked his contract to save the Jaguars around $5 million. So a big thanks to Brandon Sheriff for that. The Jaguars happy about that. But there's been some moves that have been made. PJ and I are going to discuss them, and I'm going to take this piece by piece. So PJ, they decided to let two starters go. And those two starters, cornerback Darius Williams was let go from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and safety Rayshawn Jenkins, who is always a pleasure to interview and speak with. Not that Darius Williams isn't a pleasure as well. I just spent a good amount of time with Rayshawn Jenkins and always love my conversations with him and hope that we can have some more down in the future here. Getting rid of a corner and a safety meant that they had to bring in a corner and a safety if they felt like they needed somebody to be added to the crew here if they didn't already have it with them on the current roster. And they did exactly that, as the Jacksonville Jaguars decided to bring in Ravens cornerback Ronald Darby. And so with Darius Williams going out and signing with the Rams, looks like on a 3-year deal, we have cornerback Ronald Darby coming from the Baltimore Ravens to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with Rayshawn Jenkins being let go from the team at safety, the Jaguars decided to bring in safety Darnell Savage from the Packers. Let's start there. Darius Williams, Rayshawn Jenkins, known names in the Jaguars secondary. Now they're gone. Ronald Darby comes in from the Ravens. Darnell Savage comes in from the Packers, cornerback and safety respectively. What do you think about these moves in the secondary, PJ?
Good, solid moves. I noticed that they brought in another safety, Dan Thomas, too. Danielle Thomas.
They extended him, yeah. Can you hear us?
Pardon?
They extended Daniel Thomas, so he's going to stay with them, yeah.
That's right. That's right, PJ. These guys are quality players, obviously. But Daniel, listen to this. Just got a blurb, and it says that Calvin Ridley will re-sign at 4:01 this afternoon when the free agency starts. So you may want to look that up and tell me if I'm wrong. But that is big, 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 big. Because I was going to talk about this guy, Gabe Davis, who I had to look up from Buffalo. So if they're going to keep Ridley, then what are they going to do with Davis?
Yeah, and here's the thing. So, looking at the moves that the Jaguars have made, Calvin Ridley, by some, is noted as the top wide receiver in NFL free agency right now. However, he has not made a decision. You have to remember that T. Higgins is franchise tagged, and then he allegedly has requested a trade. Some other moves have been made, but the Jacksonville Jaguars still have hope and still have a chance. I said that, yes, other teams, we talked about it this week, there's 3 scenarios for Calvin Ridley. 1, he can go to the Commanders or the Patriots, a team that has a lot of money that's probably not going to go to the playoffs. Or if they do, they're not going to be one of the better teams as of this coming season. They're building, right? Rebuilding or whatever you want to call it. But if he wants, so there's 3 scenarios. He can go somewhere for a lot of money and not necessarily win a lot of games. Second scenario, he can go somewhere where he can make a good amount of money because they have cap space, like the Houston Texans or the Detroit Lions, and go to the playoffs. Or he could stay with Jacksonville, who took a chance on him, and if that pulls at his heartstrings, you remember, people buy on emotion. If it pulls at his heartstrings, there's hope that he could stay in Jacksonville, because when the NFL had turned him away, when the NFL had put him in a position of saying, hey, you know what? We don't like what you did here in the gambling world. You're going to be suspended for an entire season. He could have walked away from the NFL. He could have done a lot of things. The Jacksonville Jaguars took a chance on him and said, hopefully you'll get reinstated. If and when you do, you can be with us. You can wear teal and gold, and we're going to believe in you, and we're going to give you a second chance. They gave him a second chance, and I don't think it was carried out that well. I'm really concerned with the offensive calling, and I'm concerned with where we're going, speaking of the Jaguars, with offensive coordinator Press Taylor. I don't know if I'm fully bought in to his offense, or at some point this season, maybe Doug Peterson is going to take over and take the offensive playing calls from Press Taylor. Maybe they'll share it. Maybe Doug will take it. Maybe he'll trust Press 100%. And on this show, and I want to be clear about this, we don't do witch hunts. We don't wish bad on people. I can fully say whether or not I agree with. I mean, if you watch any Jaguars games last year, the offense was not necessarily run in the best way possible. Yes, there's injuries to your offensive linemen. There were multiple injuries to your starting quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. But I think some of it was play calling. And this whole thing about Papa Joe and I looking at each other going, is Calvin Ridley there today? Did he play today? Is he at Disney right now? Is he at Walt Disney World? Is he at Magic Kingdom, or is he on the field? Because if he's on the field, how do we not know that he's on the field? Because they're not throwing to him. And there were a bunch of games where it was like, why are they not using Calvin Ridley? Is he being guarded that well, or are they just not scheming for him? Is Trevor not seeing him? What's going on? So Calvin Ridley could look at this and say that he didn't have a fair shake in Jacksonville because of the fact that the offense really didn't seemingly look for him a lot. And if that's the case, he could use it against Jacksonville, or he can say, I'm not finished here. This chapter still has to be written. Jacksonville gave him a chance, so he could stay in Jacksonville for less money and get this team and help get this team to the playoffs if he believes in Jacksonville, who has believed in him. Those are the 3 scenarios. Go somewhere that's not necessarily going to make the playoffs and get a ton of money. Go somewhere where you're going to get more money than Jacksonville and make the playoffs, or stay in Jacksonville and try and see this thing through in a second season and sign a 2 to 3 year deal and make some money in Jacksonville, albeit not as much. But it depends on if he has an affinity to Jacksonville, a connection with Jacksonville. The good news for the Jaguars is he hasn't made his mind up yet. And today, on Wednesday, March 13th, 2024, all these contracts we've been hearing about can officially be signed pending a physical. So the fact that Calvin Ridley has not been announced anywhere could bode very well for Jacksonville. So I ask you the question, PJ, if you're Calvin Ridley and you can go to the Patriots, Commanders, etc., and make a ton of money, but not necessarily make the playoffs. Or you could go to the Texans or the Lions and make a good amount of money, more than Jacksonville, and go to the playoffs. Or if you can stick it out in Jacksonville. What are your thoughts on his three scenarios?
You know, this announcement came from the Jags website.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm sure that it's understandably real. What Ridley brings to the table, let's face it, it's quite obvious that he and Trevor were not on the same page a lot last year. And Ridley, to me, is not the best route runner. I can see that. What I do question the Jaguars in doing, and you've heard me say this 100 times, stretch the field with this guy, let him run. You got Kirk coming back in the slot, throw Ridley on the outside, let him air out several times. If he's in shape, he's going to catch the ball. If not, the defense is going to intercept it. So I like him coming back, but he's got to understand how to play the game a little bit better. You know, in college he was just, you know, that much better than a lot of other people, and he had good quarterbacks throwing to him. This is no different. You got a future Hall of Famer, possibly, and this kid, Trevor Lawrence, throwing to you. So you better think like him, or you're not going to be part of the offense. I mean, you've got to understand that. So perhaps maybe that's what he's saying. He's thinking to himself, well, you know, I can get more money of this. I can do that. I'm not sure how much he's going to sign for. That wasn't revealed here, or how long he's going to sign for. That wasn't revealed either. So, you know, I doubt it would be a one-year deal. If he wants to be serious at 30 years old and he's got a couple years left, he can stay with us and learn how to play the position a little bit better. I'm not saying he's not a talent. He's obviously a super talent. He just needs to use his talent a little bit better. That's all I would like to see from him. And because of what I just read that popped up on my information here, that he's going to sign at 4:01 this afternoon. Now, I hope that's true. Let's hope it's not flummery, but if not, I'd welcome him.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we're sitting here awaiting and seeing what Calvin Ridley is going to do, and I mean, there's excitement here. You know, there is the news that came out, like you said, within the hour, that Calvin Ridley is expected to re-sign at 4:01 p.m. Eastern time today. When your signing can happen, I believe at 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's when we'll see these deals that we've been hearing about come to fruition, Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. So at 4 o'clock, that seems to be the time here that we can see these things happen for the NFL. Just to make note here, so the important dates for the 2024 season. Why am I bringing up this date? So it says March 11th to the 13th during the above 2-day negotiating period. So let's take a look at this. A prospective unrestricted free agent who's not represented by an NFLPA certified contract advisor is permitted to communicate directly with a new club's front office officials, excluding the head coach and other members of the club's coaching staff, regarding contract negotiation. The club is responsible for confirming the player's status as an unrepresented player. No prospective unrestricted free agent is permitted to execute a contract with a new club until 4 p.m. New York time on March 13th. The 2024 league year and free agency signing period begins at 4 p.m. New York time, which is Eastern time, today. Trading period for 2024 begins at 4 p.m. New York time after expiration of all 2023 contracts. The first day of the 2024 league year will end at 11:59 p.m. New York time on March 13th. So the official first day of the new league year is today, March 13th, 2024, which is why you're hearing all this stuff. Nothing can be enacted or considered a done deal until things can officially be signed, and I believe pending a physical, that you have to do that today, Wednesday 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern time is when everything can be made official. So everything we've heard up to this point is words. They're all words until things are enacted officially at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, which is why the notice of Calvin Ridley is 4:01 p.m. Eastern time, because that would be into the new league year, officially into that 4 o'clock hour that will open everything up. So, I mean, good news for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're bringing in Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills, allegedly on this. Again, this is all said until it's fully enacted at 4 p.m. Eastern time. But Devin Duvernay is supposed to come in with the Jacksonville Jaguars from the Baltimore Ravens. That could mean the exit of free agent, and somebody that I appreciate and always spend a lot of time with is Jamal Agnew. May no longer be on the team if Duvernay is coming in, and he's going to be used as a return specialist. He's a wide receiver that can also be utilized in the return game. So this would look at the end of Jamal Agnew in Jacksonville probably. And Gabe Davis coming in would put Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones as of right now, and Calvin Ridley with Evan Engram, the tight end, to be a very strong receiving core if they stay healthy and if they stay together. Gabe Davis is returning to the state of Florida after playing at UCF, where I covered him and the Knights. So it's personally cool for me to see Gabe Davis come to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The other part of it, PJ, is there's another person that is returning to the state of Florida, but he's returning to his home. And that is Mac Jones. Mac Jones, also drafted in the same draft as Trevor Lawrence in 2021. Lawrence was drafted number 1 overall. Mac Jones was drafted 15th overall. 2 first-round quarterback draft picks of the class of 2021 will be on the same team as of today, expected for Mac Jones to sign to be the backup quarterback in Jacksonville to try and see what he can do against C.J. Beathard in training camp. This looks like an insurance policy, so the Jaguars do not have to have Trevor Lawrence play through injury like he did for potentially at least the 4 weeks of the season. I'm looking at the high ankle sprain and the shoulder injury. Probably should have been out at least 4 weeks for the ankle injury, for the high ankle sprain, but ended up playing through all this stuff. So now with Mac Jones coming onto the team, this could help them. They're also re-signing Dearness Johnson, running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who backs up Travis Etienne Jr. and Tank Bigsby. And something that was said, and this is why you can't believe everything you hear, folks, it was said that Caleb Johnson, linebacker for the Jaguars, wouldn't be coming back. And now the Jaguars' official website, jaguars.com, has said that Caleb Johnson is, in fact, coming back to the Jaguars. So Dearness Johnson will be back at running back. We will have Caleb Johnson back at linebacker. And the Jaguars also bringing in, as we mentioned, cornerback Ronald Darby with the exit of Darius Williams at corner, bringing in safety Darnell Savage from the Packers with the exit of Rayshon Jenkins, signing Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver and return specialist. They tried to get Will Lutz, allegedly. The Jaguars tried to get the kicker away from the Denver Broncos, but could not agree to a deal, and Will Lutz is going to be returning to Denver, which means that Jacksonville currently does not have a kicker going into this season. They signed Brandon McManus for a year. He is now a Washington Commander. So it's all set up, PJ, to do what I prognosticated a year ago, which is bring back my guy from the Memphis Tigers, Riley Patterson. What do you think about that?
Yeah, right. Right.
Bring him back, baby. Let's go.
This is a lot of activity. I also read that Gardner Minshew is going to go to Las Vegas.
Yes.
As their starting quarterback. So that's. I'm glad he's finally getting something that he can do really well, and he is. He's still an elite quarterback. The Mac Jones deal is it's fine. C.J. Beathard, there's nothing wrong with him. He never did anything wrong. He was always there. He was available anytime Trevor got hurt or wanted to come out for a play or two. Now it looks like that C.J.'s probably going to be released or maybe dropped to the scout team or whatever they call it. But Mac Jones coming back here is big. I remember when he played for, I think he played for Trinity Christian in Jacksonville, and he was sought after from his sophomore year in high school. And I was pleading with him and his guys State, going to University of Florida, but instead he goes to Alabama. Somewhere along the line with the Grumpy Lobster Boat captain, he hasn't learned his position well enough. Maybe he had a lot of some OCs that just weren't on the same page with him. He certainly got a good enough arm. He's certainly smart enough. For whatever reason, I don't know. I mean, if he were to come in and have a really, really good training camp, I could see him spelling Trevor Lawrence more than once. I mean, I can see him finishing games if he had to, or coming in for a series if Trevor is stalled or something like that. I mean, Mac Jones is a class act and a class player. I mean, great, good for us. That's great. But the Ridley deal is one that I hope comes to fruition at 4 o'clock. Good for Mark Gardner Minshew. I also read something blurb this morning that came about the stadium. They're going to do this and that and this and that to the stadium. They're going to do a million things, you know. And supposedly, the Jaguars are going to be out of commission for 1, if not 2 years. If they do the renovations that they want to do, and they say it's going to cost $1 billion, listen to that. They're going to redo the Gator Bowl in $1 billion. I'm thinking to myself, if they're going to spend that kind of money, why don't they just sell the land, let someone else demolish it, buy somewhere, and build a new stadium instead of renovating the Gator Bowl? I mean, the Gator Bowl is the pits, in my opinion. I mean, it's just not a very good place to go to anymore. I used to go to the games up there for years when I was in Florida, and afterwards. I think Shad has got some thinking to do. I think that the powers to be with the state and the city are in agreement with him to renovate, and apparently at $1 billion, I don't know who's going to help pay for it. Maybe Shad will refinance his own deal. I didn't like to hear that too much because it's going to misplace the team. You know, it's kind of edgy. You know, the guys are going to have to train somewhere else. They're going to have to go here. They're going to travel here. They may play there. It's not settling at all. And Pedersen probably is going to be bitching the whole time, and I don't blame him. So Jacksonville and Chad and the city get together and try to come up with something better than refurbishing the Gator Bowl, because to me, it's not worth it.
No, I mean, and I put it up before that they should just go play in the old Citrus Bowl. They should just go to the Camping World Stadium or whatever the stadium's called today, and they should go play in Orlando. It's going to give them a ton of people. It's a direct flight for a lot of cities. So a direct flight in, you got Disney down the road, you have SeaWorld, you have Universal Studios. It's going to get them a lot of tourism fans. It's going to get them a lot of potential new fans. It's going to put them in the heart of arguably the best city in America when it comes to amusement and tourism. So, I mean, I have said repeatedly, they don't have to do anything to Camping World Stadium. There's a bunch of things that have been renovated. It's a massive stadium. It can hold a ton of people. You go to Orlando, so, you know, you're going to be what, 3 hours away or whatever it may be. But you put the Jacksonville Jaguars team there while you're renovating your stadium, and you have the opportunity of getting so many people that are going to be coming in, thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people traveling through Orlando every single year. So from September to January, you have the opportunity to bring those people into your stadium. If they go to Disney as a family for 8 days, well, on a Sunday, they might decide to go to a Jaguars game because it's just 15 minutes away and not 3 hours away. So I think that Jacksonville's best bet is to take over the old Citrus Bowl, a.k.a. Camping World Stadium. You don't have to fight with any team. You don't have to work out a schedule with a college team. You don't have to revamp or refurbish or change, you know, a lot of things. Camping World's done a bunch of work over the years to be the stadium that they are today. So you're not going to have to worry about that. You're not going to have to worry about, navigating through the schedule of what if the college team is there and then you got to turn over this and you got to put the field like this. The stadium's just sitting there. They use it for, 3 or 4 bowl games a year, but the stadium is essentially sitting there. So you can put the Jaguars logo on the field. You don't have to take it off the field. The groundskeepers don't have to keep changing fields back and forth, and you're going to be in a massive capital of tourism. So I don't understand why I'm not working in the Jacksonville Jaguars PR to make sure that this happens, because it's the easiest bet. As long as it's affordable, which Shad Khan seems to have a lot of money, why are they not just going to the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida?
That's a good point. It's a very valid point, too. I'm sure that they would charge Shad a good penny for that. Maybe $500,000 a game or something like that. But if he were to keep all the revenue from the food and beverage and the parking and everything, I could see that being a good deal for him.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. As to the players we were talking about, the Garden and Savage players, you lose 2, you gain 2. These guys you don't lose anything with these guys. Ernest Johnson as a running back depth is great. Horn, Thomas, Ledbetter, Cleveland coming back as re-signing. And Gabe Davis is a surprise, frankly. I did a little research on him, and he does average 16.5 yards per catch from Josh Allen. That's pretty darn good. And his nickname is Big Game Gabe. So apparently, the higher the stakes, the better he plays. So I like that. I like that nickname. So it's going to be a waiting game. I'm very curious now. When 4 o'clock comes along, I'm going to have to tune in ESPN and check and see if the Ridley rumor is true.
Yeah, I just put up a GIF of Kevin Hart putting his sunglasses down and staring, and it says, watching the clock for 4:01 p.m. Eastern Time today, March 13th, for wide receiver Calvin Ridley, potentially resigning with the Jaguars like ... So excited to see what's going to happen here. At 4 o'clock, we're going to know a lot of things, but what we allegedly do know up to this point, according to the Jaguars official website, is that Caleb Johnson, their linebacker, is staying put. Running back Dearness Johnson is staying put. Kicker Brandon McManus, who was used for a year, is not coming back. And Jamal Agnew could be out the door as well. And Ezra Cleveland, we look to see the veteran guard coming back to the team. As I said, Brandon Sheriff, offensive guard on the offensive line for the Jaguars, restructured his contract. Mitch Morrissey, the center for the Buffalo Bills, may be coming into town officially. Blake Hance, offensive lineman, has a contract extension, so we could see the end of Tyler Shatley in Jacksonville. Those 2 years that he signed on an extension went by way too fast. And Mac Jones could be returning back home to Jacksonville to back up Trevor Lawrence. Gabe Davis could be adding to what's going on in the receiving corps. Devin Duvernay could be the new return specialist. Calvin Ridley could be staying put. All of that, 4 o'clock today. Pay attention. And I, of course, will be doing maybe some special things this afternoon when that rolls around the clock. So we shall see what happens here. Make sure you stay with the Jacksonville Jaguars coverage right here on Wake Up Call on the Prowl. PJ, as always, I send you an MT, my love. Tell her when she goes to the gym today and she hits that punching bag to think of a few people up in Syracuse that don't drive that well. I appreciate you, PJ.
I will. She'll have fun with that. See you later.
Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. It is time for us to bid you adieu today, and always something that's hard for me to do because I like being here with you. So we will be with you back again by the grace of God tomorrow morning. We're going to have a little bit of a unique broadcast tomorrow morning, as the show is going to we have a pre-planned 10 a.m. broadcast that's going to feature American Athletics Conference Commissioner Mike Oresco. So he will be on at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, as I have to do something with my dad, which I said I asked for your prayers. And I will see you at 9 a.m. live, and we'll do something at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you will get Wake Up Call tomorrow morning. It's just going to be in 2 different pieces because of something that we have to take care of as a family, and truly would appreciate all of your prayers for that.
Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and then we'll be back to our normal schedule, hopefully Friday morning. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT. And, of course, you can find us on internet streaming radio, wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, they jump into the archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on any one of these channels. Download us, save us, follow us, and connect with us for free from wherever you are in the world. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Dolphins hanging out with us during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays like today at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, first and third Wednesday of each month with AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, like today, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find all of those stories and all of our wonderful exclusive pieces by going to youtube.com / wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and the notification bell, and you'll find the LeMoyne playlist on our YouTube channel, which gives you all of our LeMoyne videos in one place. So not only are you subscribed to our YouTube channel, but you can go to the LeMoyne Dolphins playlist and go and search through history, and that will continue to grow and evolve. We just added a bunch of stuff yesterday, actually, so make sure you check it out. You can find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse call Wake Up Call home as our exclusive multimedia marketing partner. You will find the Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and what we like to call the Bobcat Buzz, diving into the wonderful stories of the student athletes, coaches, and administration. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month, and you can find men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, baseball, and esports all in the spotlight on our YouTube channel on youtube.com / wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell, and our BSC Syracuse playlist is waiting for you on our YouTube channel right now. You can also find them on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com and the Bobcats underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and we are officially in baseball season, so let's go Bobcat Nation, and make sure you show out to the baseball games at home and on the road to support Sean Peak and the crew. The Binghamton University Bearcats are the newest exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats during the Bearcat Break Room, which is during Bearcat Time. Bearcat Time is Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, giving you weekly coverage of Binghamton University's wonderful student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year. The stories of the Bearcats are right here with us in the Bearcat Break Room. We just had this week, actually yesterday, joining us Beth Ann Shapiro-Ord, as well as Danae Bowman from the Binghamton University women's basketball program. We also feature each month Moments with Marshall, which is Gene Marshall, the athletics director of Binghamton University, joining me to tell the story of Binghamton University and to give us information, breaking news, and different things going on with Binghamton University. So Moments with Marshall, as well as the Bearcat Break Room, airing for you every single month, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We give you one Moments with Marshall each month where we get to sit down with Gene Marshall, and the rest of the Tuesdays, the Bearcat Break Room. You can find all of our content with Binghamton University already on our YouTube channel by going to youtube.com /Wake Up Call DT. Click subscribe and the notification bell and find our Binghamton University playlist. You can also find the Bearcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and by going to the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank my incredible, wonderful guests today, my trio of guests today. Inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. By the way, they got new freeze-dried candy you do not want to miss. The Fruit Burst, the Mambos, as well as the Rainbow Rounds and the Brain Busters, all available on location at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York at Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of CNY. Head there today. We look forward to seeing you over at Ma and Pa's. Big time thanks to the LeMoyne College baseball team. Big time shout out to Scott Cassidy, Craig Lane, and everybody that helped to make this possible this morning, that we could have our duo from the baseball staff, and that being catcher Brady Fureno, as well as pitcher Jordan Goldmann, joining the broadcast. And finding out that Jordan is an Arizona Diamondback fan made my day, made my week. And then PJ and I, Papa Joe, come in a day early to speak on Major League Baseball to do our third part of our three-part series of getting you ready for the 2024 season by letting you know every single team's moves in the offseason. And, of course, talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars moves, which can be made official today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with a new league year starting for the NFL here on Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. So thanks to Brady, thanks to Jordan, thanks to Papa Joe, and thanks to you. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And if you guys saw it today, I'm wearing a long sleeve, nice fitted shirt that has the Lando Pro Services logo here on my chest. That is in support of my big brother Joey. If you are in the state of Florida and you need help just with your pool or your deck or your home, whatever it may be, from pressure washing to all of the intricate pieces of things that just will help your house look like new, when it comes to getting your house looking special, refurbished, beautiful, and awesome, not just because you're having a graduation party, but all throughout the year. Lando Pro Services is with you all year round, helping you to help your home and your business, to help everything look tremendously wonderful, make things look brand new. The attention to detail is wonderful, and it comes from a person that I can vouch for. So make sure that you get in touch with Lando Pro Services. You can look them up on social media and choose Lando Pro Services in the state of Florida to take care of you and to take care of making everything look brand spanking new. So with that being said, big time thanks to my big brother. Thanks to Lando Pro Services for all the incredible work that you have done up to this point and continue to do. And I look forward to all of the wonderful things as you expand and elevate your business in Florida and with all of your dreams that you have, Joey. So much love and thank you all. Please keep my dad in your prayers. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.